Okay, so today I'm looking to start writing a new point of sale software for my brother's cafe. So he's got a small touchscreen computer with a cash register and a receipt printer. So I want to write an application for that computer. So we'll start in Gemini here to create a PID for the program that will guide the development going forward. So I would like you to help write me a PID for a new POS software I am writing to run a small cafe. How's that? Well, apparently we want a fancy E on cafe. Okay. I am looking to write it in Postgres. Not Postgres. Well, we will use Postgres, but we use Python for the main program with a Postgres database for the software. Just because I'm familiar with Postgres, it makes it easy and it handles money really well and will make reporting quite easy going forwards. Okay, graphically I've used the PySide library that worked quite nicely. Let's use the PySide library for the GUI and Python. Okay, what else do we want to know? So while I'm developing the software on a full HD monitor, the touch screen computer we are deploying on is only standard HD. So let's make sure we design everything to fit nicely on that computer. Okay, what else do we need to know? So it's going to be a touchscreen based point of sale. Now they're going to sell coffees and also bits of food and stuff. So, but the coffees will need personalization. We're going to want the interface needs to be super touch screen friendly. After selecting an item to sell, that so we've got things like coffees might have add-ons, so they could be different sizes and also have extra extra properties. So you might add soy milk or coconut milk or chocolate sprinkles and so on. We're also going to have different flavors of coffees, but we'll probably have the flavor of the coffee as the base product and then have the size and add-on options once you select it. Okay, so the touchscreen needs to be super touchscreen friendly, and after selecting an item that may have optional sizes or possible add-ons such as small, medium, or large for a size, or changes of milk type for a coffee, or even other extra options such as chocolate sprinkles or additional syrups. Then a dialog should come up letting the user select these and they will be added to the properties of that line items sale. These size changes option add-ons will also need also potentially alter the price of that item. Okay, what else do we need to know at this stage? I think we'll have roughly the left 2/3 of the screen will be like the item selection area, and then the right third will be the transaction line completing the sale. So we'll tell the software about we'll put that in our PRD. So the PRD being the product requirements document. Actually, let's make it clear in here. This PRD will be used to inform an AI coding assistant going forwards to aid in the development of this program. Okay, so let's sort of start describing the layout of our program then. Roughly, the left 2/3 of the screen will be the product selection area, and the right third will include the transaction going on. This should be touch screen friendly, so if the number of items in the sale is longer than displays in there, touching on that area and dragging, it should scroll up and down appropriately to see what is in that sale. At the bottom of the transaction area will be an option to complete the sale, which would bring up a dialog that allows the payment to go through. Okay, the payment screen should allow either cash. So on payment, we know that the Café has an FPOS terminal, so a payment terminal for credit cards and so on. That will be external, or we can take cash, or possibly even manually reconcile, like an internet payment or something if someone's done a transfer. So the payment screen should allow either manual cash entry of an exact amount, or cash entry of exact change, or a custom amount, or even one of a few preset cash amounts. If the payment is greater than the full transaction amount, then the change to provide will be presented. The payment screen should also have the option to pay via FPOS, which is a manual reconciliation against a payment terminal outside of the POS software. Okay, so that's the payment process. Later on, we will work on reporting as well. Initially, reporting on will not be a core function, but all transactions and products sold will be recorded accordingly, so that extensive reporting may be added later on. Okay, oh, FPOS has a T. There we go. What else do we need to start with? So we can make a payment. We'll also have to be able to cancel a sale, and we also have the receipt printer. So when a sale is completed, it will be recorded in the database, and then a function will be called to and then if print receipt is turned on, a checkbox will present on the transaction area of the POS screen to auto print the receipt. User wishes. Then a receipt will be printed on now what kind of printer it is? It's an ESC/PR's printer attached to the computer. Okay, so we'll print receipts. Additionally, a second receipt with coffee order instructions might also be printed in a similar fashion. That just includes the instructions to make the coffees as ordered. So they can be a customer receipt, and they can be just an instruction receipt for the cafe to use by the coffee maker. What else do we need to know about our POS system at this stage? So we've got our receipts, we're completing the order. Feel like there are a couple of things we were thinking about at this stage. That should do for now. We'll start with that. We'll get our initial PID. We can expand upon that, of course, plenty down the line. So we can see it thinking away. It's understanding what we want to do. Now we can go to VS Code. We'll make a new file here. Let's call this project prd.md. Okay. So we're getting some of the key parts here, the platform we want to use, and yeah, it's detailing the database, the GUI, the fact that we want it in standard HD to be happy, sort of the general layout, some of the interface quirks there. That's all looking pretty good. It's even starting to detail some of our database schema and yeah, inventory management, stuff like that. That's cool. So we shall copy all of that. And put that in our project PID. Cool. Save that. Okay. Now, what else do we want? We want a... So I've got my little context helper here to make future requests. I want a short description about the nature of the project there. So please give me a nice 2 to 4 sentence description of this app as it is intended to be in its finished form. There we go. Copy that and paste that in there. So there we go. We've got a framework now to ask. So if I copy this, I can minimize that now. We can make a fresh chat here, paste in that, and upload our, let's find our context file. Okay, that should be in there. One moment, it's not cooperating. Drop context, we should have the text file appearing in there now. Let's close that. We need to add this to our context file. There we go. Drop context. There we go. Got a context file. Add file and pause context file. Cool. I would like to begin this project. Where should we begin? So I've just included our full PID and the description of the project. It's deciding where to start. Do we create the database first or do we create the project structure? There we go. So I'm going to create a schema file, our main Python file, the requirements file. Cool. So start with our requirements to put into a requirements text file. So we'll go to here, new file, requirements.txt, and it wants us to install everything in there. So pip install requirements.txt. -r. Oh, perhaps we put the text in there. There we go. Save that. Try that again. There we go. So we need PySide and we need this library here to talk to Postgres. Cool. Now we're going to create the schema with the initial tables. So it wants that as a database schema.sql. Okay. So copy that. New file, database schema. Copy that, paste that, save that. Okay. And does that make sense? Let's have a quick look. So we're going to create categories of products. We're going to create products. They've got prices. We're going to create product groups. We're going to create options and table of transactions. So that's going to be the amounts and transaction items will refer back to the transaction list. So they go back. We've got a bunch of bits there, linking some groups and options. So linking options to products. Cool. Okay, create the application skeleton. Let's create our primary Python file here. So we're going to copy that. I'm going to call this main.py. Main.py. Save that. Cool. And we've got that. Let's see if we can even run it now. Let's go Python 3 main.py. There we go. We're starting. Now, also while we're at it, we can take our context dropper here and we can add these files to our context going forwards. Cool. So now we're going to add the two panel design and start making it a little bit more interactive. So we're going to update main.py with this. And it's detailing what we're doing. So now if we rerun that app, cool, we're starting to get our interface. Awesome. We have done that change now. Okay. So we've got some sample items here. Cool. It's got some random ideas. So we'll create this script here. And it's even creating the database. So database name, database user. Cool. So we'll copy that. New file, seed, database.py. Okay, paste all that in. Now, do I need to create that database in Postgres first, or is it doing all of that for me too? There we go. We probably do need to create the users and such. So let's change this. We're going to call this, I don't know, database name is going to be pos database. Database user is going to be, let's call it pos database. That'll be fine. Or pos user. Password, I will change this later, but in the meantime, just while testing here, I'm just going to call it password 123. But that will be changed off the video. So now we're going to go to Postgres. Okay, so we're going to create database pos database. Cool. Now, does this have... Nope, let's quickly create another chat. I have a database called pos database. I want to create a user with a set password and make them the owner of that database. The user name will be pos user, and the password, which I will change later, will start off as password 123. Oh, it may ask which database I'm using, or Gemini might remember I'm usually using Postgres. There we go. So create the user first. And then I'm going to assign them to that database. That's not something I'm doing every day. Cool. Cool. Now let's try and see the database. Okay, it could connect, but it gets an error. So we'll just tell it that its seed script was wrong. It wants to seed the database after I've inserted that code. So SQL-F seed data, database schema into pos database. Oh, and -u, let's make the user doing that be pos user. Password 123. Boom. Now let's try the script again. Cool. Oh, there we go. That's what it was asking for. So next, we do that. So now we'll have some sample data. We should be able to run our next stage where we'll display some products. Let it do its thinking. So now we can make it connect to that data. Cool. I'm going to copy all that in a second. There we go. Copy. Now we do need to update the username here on this one. Okay, database name. Pos. What do we call it? Pos database, pos user. Pos database, pos user. Password 123. Save that. And then let's run our Python 3 main. Awesome. So we're loading our products. And let's move the database connection details to an env file first. Okay, let's make a file with our database settings so we're not having to duplicate this in every single instance. Okay, so we're going to add a new requirement here. So that's going to lead to us installing python.env. Cool. And then we're going to make a new .env file. So new file .env. Copy that, paste that, and pause database, pause user, password 123. Obviously that will be changed when I'm not recording the video. Save that. And then our main application will start using that as well. So now when we run main, we still get our products. Cool. Awesome. And see database, if we ever need to do that again, might as well update that to use the .env. Cool. Awesome. Now let's just make sure. Oh, we don't need to include that, but we do want to make sure we know about that later. Cool. Okay. To the next stage. Cool. So I'm going to make the buttons actually do things. Okay. Now we're going to make a new database module. So it's going to tidy up the code a little bit, adding this new file. So add a new file. Oh, not a folder. You have a new file, db.py. Copy that. Cool. And main is getting an update. Still happy. And we've got categories and products. We might also make some of these products we might add with favorites to the home page as well. And play with colors and all sorts. Cool. Okay, so next we're going to bring the application to life by making the product buttons functional. When they click on a product item, it's going to add them to the transaction area. Cool. Let's copy our new main. Oh, that's a big one. Make sure that this is all included. and get rid of that. Run that again. Cool. Oh, we get interesting errors there. This works for the first product, but not following additions to the transaction line. There we go. Give it the output error and let it see what's happening. It's figured out what's going on. It's going to change it to fix the subtotal being tracked by a decimal rather than a float number. Cool. So make sure it's got all the output. Close that. Go back there. Update that. Cool. Let's make tax correct as well. Locally we have 15% tax, and for now we can just make that hard coded. Well, actually let's add tax. All prices recorded in the software are inclusive of tax, and the tax portion itself is 15%. Which locally is referred to as GST. So an item, this example, if it was its exclusive price was $100, then the inclusive price of tax is 1.5. Make sure it gets the tax calculated correctly. So it knows it needs to calculate backwards what tax would have been. That looks like a sensible calculation. Updating all of our logic there. Cool. Run our program again. So now if I sell that item, we're getting our GST portion. Cool. Perfect. What's next? Thinking away. Now we realize we need to have some dialogues pop up when we do things. So it's going to create some extra options of ways to talk to the database in our database module. And we're going to start adding dialogues. So copy that. Database module gets an upgrade. And our main application gets an update too. Cool. So now when we run it, if we click latte or cappuccino, that has some options. Cool. Now this might be a little bit cumbersome long term, but we might do some sensible defaults and make this a little bit more touchscreen friendly too. But that can be a future goal. But we can see it's adding that to the transaction properly. What's next? Payment phase. Okay, so now we're going to do transactions being saved to the database. That's in the database module. Also just wants us to add this to the end of the database. Make that easier in a second. And update the entire contents for that. Is that complete? Just a little bit faster rather than making sure I don't break any indenting on my Python to copy the whole database. Update code. So leave it to it now. Copy that. Cool. Let's run the program again. Sell a flat white or two. Complete the sale for $50. Completed successfully. Cool. Starting to its stuff there. Doesn't tell us the change we need to provide though, but yeah, one step at a time. If pos cash, we don't have the exact amount cash option either. We'll add that in a little bit, but we're definitely making progress. Now I'll wind that up for now and carry on later, but we're starting to get the skeleton of our point of sale software, and yeah, we should be able to have a fully functional system in no time. Okay, so I got a little bit carried away doing some more prompting between odd jobs. So the point of sale's got a little bit more expanded here, a little bit more of a modern design. We've made it so that while we do have menus for products, the home screen has most of the products that have been favorited. The coffee selection, we can choose our size and our extras. If it's a milk-based drink, we can choose the milk type, and of course we can have multiple extras there. We can also edit an existing product, change specifics of an order too. If we have multiples, that's handled cleanly, and when we complete our sale, the sale completion screen's a bit tidier. We can even say here, if it's $105 cash, we'll see the exact amount of change to provide back. Or conversely, we can do a split payment. So we could say it's $40 cash, complete that, and then we pay the rest via our electronic payment method. It's printing receipts already as well, so receipts are nice and tidy, including kitchen order dockets as well. And went a little bit full on with the admin screen here, showing progress for the day or the week. We can see our past transactions, we can view those, And we've even done a backup and a save of the database and a product configuration page. So we can edit our products and prices, create new ones, choose what the additional options are for a more complex product with composite components. And yeah, that's genuinely only about 4 or 5 hours of extra prompting on top of our initial start there, just between odd jobs. So I hadn't turned the camera on for those, but yeah. And we can also see we reordered the structure of the project a little bit here. So we've broken out various dialogues to separate Python files and widgets and components there. So that's where we're at currently with our point of sale that we've quickly been vibe coding, and it's about ready for deployment now into the cafe. Yeah, thanks for tagging along. Bye.